Go ahead
All
and
right.
go for it.
Cool. All right, folks. I want to say thank you for downloading, listening to our show on your iPhones, Androids, computers, following us on Twitter at BSW Report. On the line with us is a man who's been very, very influential and impactful in my life, but we'll get to that in a minute. Diamond Dallas Page, the man behind DDP Yoga. Dallas, how you doing today, brother?
Ah, man, never had a bad day in my life, bro. Just well, I've had a few sore ones, no bad ones.
That I know it's that I know all too well. So I figure we'll talk a little bit about your career, then we'll get into the real meat and potatoes of the DDP yoga because that is something very near and dear to me. So I'm going to start off like this. I've been a pro wrestling fan and a fan of yours for I can't tell you how many years. And there's been like 4 or 5 huge pops that I can recall in wrestling, like Jericho debuting on Raw or that glass shattering for Stone Cold. But the one I want to ask you about is when you hit Savage with that diamond cutter for the first time, I believe it was in Spartanburg, South Carolina. What was that feeling like to you?
Well, actually, it was Florence, South Carolina, was the first time, and there were no cameras there that night. And Randy called that finish. That wasn't me who said, I think I'll beat Savage today. That was predetermined by him. And when I hit him out of nowhere with that diamond cutter, the roof exploded. Exploded. Maybe it was Spartanburg. I thought it was Florence.
I, yeah, I mean, I can imagine with your schedule getting cities screwed up. Now, you guys took that onto the following pay-per-view, and you hit the cutter on live TV, and the crowd popped just as well. I remember watching it live. I was like, I marked out, as hard as someone could mark out because to me, there's 2, maybe 3 guys who are the quote unquote working class guys. There's yourself, Austin, and maybe Daniel Bryan, and I felt like a real connection with you through your character because you punch that time clock, put your nose to the grindstone, and get the work done. How rewarding was that for you to go over like that on the pay-per-view?
It was monstrous, man. But all of that, the timing of the NWO and what Scott and Kev did for me, just a couple of months earlier. That's what when I dropped both of those guys, hit Scott Hall with the diamond cutter and backdropped Kev over the top rope. No one had touched those guys. They've been killing everybody for over a year. So for me to be the guy to drop them, that was the beginning of me hopping on that rocket. And Randy, me hitting him with the diamond cutter Spring Stampede, a pay-per-view that I headlined on, main evented on. You would never have seen or even thought that was possible maybe 6, 7 months earlier. You wouldn't even think it was possible. But it was, and it was because, everything was so hot right then. 1997, was for me, the greatest time in professional wrestling. 97, 98, and part of 99.
Yeah, for sure. That was the era of wrestling. That was when I had been watching wrestling for years and prior to that, and at this point in time, everything was hot from WCW to WWE. It was amazing time to have to be involved in watching wrestling, and I can imagine being involved in it was the crowds and everything going on at that time had to have been great.
You're living the dream at a different level. Like I can remember starting out in '91. And me and Kevin Nash were tagging together. And if you really look at the crew I was running with back then in '91, it was me, Nash, Raven, Stone Cold, Mick Foley, a.k.a. Cactus Jack, Mankind, etc. The 5 of us, would go on to be like top. And if Raven, Raven just got a bad break here and there, he would have been a world champion too because he was an amazing entertainer as well. But we all came up together, so to speak. It was pretty wild.
Yeah, that's definitely. Now, at any time when you were, as hot as you were in the WCW, were you ever wanting to jump ship to WWE before, the fold of WCW and all that went down, or were you happy where your place in WCW and looking to make another brand of wrestling, just make it, as big as
all of my ambitions ended with the WWE. That's where since I was a little kid, that's where I wanted to be. And there's a couple times I almost jumped ship, before it went, before I made the move. Before we exploded, and even when we were exploding and beating New York, I almost went then. And really, if you're going back in time, that would have been the best time for me to go if all the cards laid out the way they did. But, everything was, it was great. I don't have any, God, I wish I would have type feelings, because for every right move I made, there was, the hard work, there was an amazing payoff. But for every wrong move I made, there's been an amazing payoff. Because it's all how you pre-position in your head where you think you were screwed, and if you learn from that, it can be the most valuable lesson you ever have. If you hold on to why me, why does this have to happen to me? These guys screwed me. If you hold on to that, you have nothing.
Yeah, that's a fact.
So that's not who I am. So, there's little things that, oh, God, I would love to have done that. But if it would have changed, the best example is if I would have done People's Champion versus People's Champion, my wrestling career in WWE would have been completely different. But I wouldn't have been the businessman I am today. And DDP Yoga has grossed over $13 million in less than 3 years. That is like way more than I made in wrestling.
I'm glad you brought up DDP Yoga. Now, you don't know this, but Dallas, you saved my life. I am 33 years old, 6 foot tall. This one day back in February, I listened to a podcast with Gabriel Iglesias and Steve Austin. And Gabe was talking about how big he was and how he lost all this weight. And I've heard of DDP Yoga before, but once Gabe said, I'm like, all right, I immediately went to your website and checked it out, and I saw Arthur. Blew me away. The very next day, I ordered the Max Pack and raided the pantry. I have 2 ruptured discs in my lower back. I was drinking every single day. Your yoga program.
To alleviate the pain, right? You're drinking every day.
Absolutely. And I never got hooked on drugs or anything like that. My old man would have whipped my ass. But once that Max Pack arrived, I went to the gluten-free, I went to the dairy-free. I do organic as much as my wallet allows me. It's more so than not.
Right.
But you saved my freaking life, and you didn't even know it. I just want to say thank you for developing DDP Yoga and making me be able to run, jump, throw, hit a baseball, and do everything all over again. You gave me my life back, and I want to say thank you so much, Dallas.
That's awesome, man. I can't tell you. I mean, I get a crazy email, just talking about how I've saved someone's life here, or, they have had pain for 15 years, and after, 6 weeks of doing the program, they're pain-free. Like I said, DDP Yoga, has grossed over $13 million, and it's not even been 3 years. But that's the monetary side. But the other side is it's changed so many lives, and that's way more rewarding to me than the money, because I've always made money.
Yeah. I mean, people don't think of the word impact in the proper way, and you have made an impact on people's lives. Like I sit before you today. Yeah, I got a massive cold and like a fever of 101. I am down to 198 pounds, down from a 40 to a 34. I can bend over flat and touch the ground with my back in an arch. I can run a 7-minute mile, all because of DDP Yoga. I do it religiously, 3 to 4 times a week. I tried the Extreme DVD. That cover is accurate. It made me cuss, it made me spit, and it pissed me off. but go ahead.
Where did you start at? What was your weight starting at?
262.
Beautiful. You gotta write me. When we get off the air, I'll give you my email, man. You gotta write me. And give me some pictures. I want to put that up on my site. And and I just have to segue into this. And this isn't a slap on them, because I think the Insanity workouts and the P90X, I think they're great workouts if you're younger and you haven't beat up your body. Because the positive side for me is they beat up your body so bad, eventually you're going to have to come to DDP Yoga. But one of the things that they do is they literally audition 1,000 people in New York, and they do it in LA, and they pick 90, and then they give them their food. And I know one of the companies that delivers their 5 meals a day, so they're at set level of calories taken in, and that's how they get these amazing, lost 20 pounds, lost 30 pounds, lost 15 pounds. And look at me now, I'm shredded. Well, 90% of probably 90 are actors. Because they're in Los Angeles and New York and they're getting free food for 90 days and they're going to get shredded and they get to work out for nothing. That's how they get their testimonies. Mine come like you just said. They're real. They're organic. You can't fake that shit, you know?
Not at all. Like, I wake up every day pain-free now. Yeah, like, I play softball weekly. I may get hit with a ball or something. Yeah, it's going to be sore from the impact. But my back doesn't bother me. My sciatic nerve doesn't bother me. My neck, my knees, nothing hurts anymore. It's like I found the friggin' fountain of youth, and it was sitting right in front of me, and I had no idea. And the food that you got me going on, the food is unbelievable. I had this preconceived notion that quote-unquote healthy food tastes disgusting. I cannot stand a GMO or processed food anymore. I just can't do it. Like this morning, I had a smoothie with kale, mango, pineapple, and almond milk.
Yeah,
dude,
awesome.
And
delicious.
Then I do the breakfast you recommend. It is. I do the breakfast you recommend, like a couple eggs scrambled with I put some mushroom salsa on there. I do organic. Like Cheerios with almond milk and an apple and water every day, and I wake up so much energy, feeling great, and I can't appreciate you enough for doing what you did. Now, we kind of know the backstory, but some of our listeners might not. How did DDP Yoga get started?
Well, it was out of necessity because I'm a guy who wouldn't be caught dead doing yoga the first 42 years of my life. But I didn't start wrestling until I was 35. My career didn't take off until I was 40. That was 96. And my career took off like a rocket in 97. In 98, I was on top of the world. And then at the end of 98, you'll see me disappear for like 3 pay-per-views.
Yep.
Like, where is he? His back's blown out, and 3 of the top surgeons in the world told me I would never wrestle again. So, I was still married to Kim at the time, and she'd be begging me, please try this yoga. And I'm like, fuck that. I'm not doing yoga. I actually got quoted in the Wall Street Journal on the book I wrote, Yoga for Regular Guys, which was my version of The Man Show meets yoga. It was like smoking hot chicks and regular dudes. And that book, if you can find the book, it's like $200 if it's new. If it's used, it's $70. And it had a lot of great information in it, and, long story short, I started to finally do a couple different CDs, they were VHS tapes back then, and I hated them, but she finally put one in by a guy named Brian Kest, who was a really cool dude, and I got to actually work out with him much later, but I followed his VHS workouts, and after about 3 weeks, I was starting to feel some flexibility and strength coming back. So I had to figure out how to modify and all that shit. And as you know, every DDP yoga workout has someone modifying the position.
Absolutely.
So that the disabled veteran Arthur Borman could do it. And tell me, what did you think when you actually threw the first 20-minute workout in, because it's only 20 to start, and it's energy, and you see someone modifying the position, but you see Arthur there doing the most challenging position. That is like knock you back, huh?
Dude, when I first saw Arthur doing those, because if you don't know Arthur's story, he had, 2 blown-out knees, a blown-out back. He's like 5'9" at almost 300 pounds, give or take. And now seeing what he can do, when you had him on Shark Tank, he ran into the investors and did the freaking splits. And I was like, dude, this guy is an inspiration to so many people around the world. I just Brian is a personal trainer himself with CrossFit, and I told him I do DDP yoga, and he kind of commended me because I really wasn't healthy, but I will never sway from it. It just changed my life so much.
I just haven't taken the bite to order my DVDs, but that DDP yoga is something I'd like to get into to have at home and help get my wife doing something too as well. So I think all that is. What you guys?
If you're doing CrossFit, bro, as you know, if you got a good trainer, it can be a great workout. But 90% of the places don't have good trainers, they're just beating them up bad, beating up them people bad. Yeah. And this is an awesome. This is a glue and duct tape for you.
Exactly. This is what's
So
going to
really,
what I'm able to do. So that's yeah. I really push on the quality of form when I'm working with my clients. But I want to get into a question about your the positive mental attitude that DDP carries around in his back pocket at all times. You are just you're always so positive about everything and have that attitude. And I try to do these things myself, and I turn to people and I listen to YouTube things that you have put out, or Eric Thomas, Anthony Robbins, people like this. Who does DDP turn to listen to catch up on that day that you're feeling the funk? Who does DDP turn to get that positive mental attitude back flowing again in the right way?
well, Tony Robbins is my guy, because he's a couple years younger than me, but I remember seeing his infomercial back when he was on with Fran Tarkington when he was like 26. I didn't know what age he was. I assumed he was around my age. And here's this guy interviewing all these people that he's been working the whole inspirational, and he doesn't even call himself motivational inspirational. He calls himself the why guy. Like, why do you do this? Why do you do that? And then answers, because he's a really smart dad. But you have to understand, I grew up with ADD and dyslexia and was reading at a third grade level at the age of 30. Oof. And when I saw Tony on the tube, I couldn't read his book. There's no way. I didn't read my first book until I was 31, and started teaching myself how to read. But I could buy his tapes, his cassette tapes, and I could listen to them. I mean, I was listening to him the other morning. He did a talk with TED Talk, and it's only 20 minutes, which is really short for Tony to be talking.
That's
I've seen him speak. Say what?
I say that TED Talk that Tony Robbins does on TED is a good one. That's one where he's talking to he kind of takes a little shot at Al Gore, right? Where he said he didn't have the backup of the Senate or whatever when he was doing.
Right.
That's a great video. I watched that one probably 10, 15 times so far. It's just one of those things I throw on to kick my attitude back up and get myself.
And it gives you, more you hear it, the more it becomes part of you.
Right.
So many things I say, like, just don't think it, ink it, write it down. I mean, like, I heard that once and I said, okay, that's mine. Own your life. Nobody says, they say change your life. How about own your life? That's something I've, is a huge part of what DDP yoga is all about. And, when you make the commitment to start to help yourself, like so many people say, I've got to get my life back together. I'm 300 pounds or whatever that weight is, or my body's beat up and I've got kids and I've got to do it for them. It's like, no, you have to do it for you.
Yep.
Because if you do it for you, you will help your kids. But if you do it for your kids, well, it's for my kids, and oh God, let me have another beer. It's like, let me have another piece of pizza. I've already had one. All right, this is 5, but I'm going to stop after 6. It's like you got to be accountable, to yourself, not to your kids, not to your wife, to yourself. Yeah. And then the rest of it goes forward. I'm sorry I branched off of what we were talking about, right. But when I was saying that, at 42, my career took off like 41, 42, it took off like a rocket. When I blew out my back, ruptured my L4 and L5, I had specialists tell me I'd never work again. And at that point, Kimberly finally got me into, watching some of the tapes. And I felt like from some of the yoga tapes, I wasn't into all the spiritual mumbo jumbo, and not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just not my scene. So I eliminated all of that, and I just started to do mixed yoga with, old school calisthenics, push-ups, squats, crunches. I mixed it with rehabilitation techniques. I had 4 surgeries, both shoulders, both knees. I know a lot about it. I know a lot about breaking up scar tissue. So I mixed that all together. And what really makes DDP yoga its own animal, though, is I created a thing called dynamic resistance. And all it really is isometrics meets isokinetics. And isokinetics means you flex and engage muscles as you're moving, just like you're lifting weights.
Sure.
So that's how we get our heart rate so jacked up. So by accident, and it was completely by accident, I created the workout that was kick-ass cardio, would dramatically increase your flexibility. How? By breaking up scar tissue and alleviating pain, strengthen your core like never before with minimal joint impact. In less than 3 months, I was back in the ring. 42, they said my career was over. 43, I was the heavyweight champion of the world. So, I'm going to keep doing that,
I like how you brought up the dynamic resistance and the heart rate. And I have a couple of buddies I work with, and they're gym rats. And I'll just talk to them like, how do you what do you do to keep your weight off? Oh, they're like, we run for 10 minutes to get their heart rate up. I'm like, all right, I tell you what, I'll bet you $10 I can get my heart rate to 135 beats a minute standing still. 10 out of 10 times I fall for it every time, just standing still. Based on what you taught me, it is absolutely the best workout I've ever had. My joints feel good, and just my life is feel good. I'm not trying to blow smoke up your ass. I'm just that genuinely appreciative of what you've done for me.
Oh yeah.
Anyone who's as pumped as you are about it, you need to get certified. And I'll tell you, I'm serious, because I've got certifications popping up all over the country, all over the world, really, right now, because it's all online.
Yeah.
And for level 1, level 2, you have to show up at something, workshop, retreat, ultimate workshop, whatever. But I'm building a DDP Yoga Performance Center. We've just started construction this week. This isn't just a place where we go in and have DDP Yoga classes. They will be filmed live. I'm spending over $500,000, probably closer to $1 million when it's finished, on the app that'll become like Netflix.
Damn.
DDP Yoga will be the Netflix of fitness. I'll be the first one, unless Beachbody's rolling it out next month, that will have live workouts. And those live workouts will go right into the queue, because I never do the same workout twice ever. So it'll be all my DVDs. It'll be all the ones you haven't seen yet, which are about 30 of them.
Jesus.
There's workouts I've made up specifically for Jericho, specifically for MMA fighters, specifically for basketball players. The guys are either collegiate level or pro that haven't made any kind of name yet. But my goal is to find some of these people young and start really getting this a part of their lifestyle. The DDP Yoga Performance Center will not only film the workouts, not all of them there, but a lot of them. Stevie Richards is coming in to run the place for me. Stevie's is the first one of the boys that's DDP Yoga certified, and he will actually be running the performance center for me, and he'll be doing live workouts as well. And they'll all go into the queue, but we also have on the same area, this is a sound stage that we're building, a whole kitchen sound stage with the lighting and everything. So we'll probably 4 to 5 meals a week. We will cook them live, whether it's me, my daughter Brittany, my fiance Brenda. Maybe I'll be together. Maybe I'll do it with Jake. Maybe I'll do it with Scott. We'll just cook dinner that night right there, like about 5 o'clock, and then put it out on the, we'll cut it up and make it a much smaller video, and then next day it'll be in the recipe section. So, we've got that, and then we've got a green site. And what a site means is it's a green wall. It's a green screen. But this one's 18 feet high, 26 feet wide, and 18 feet deep. So I can do DDP yoga on the moon, in Tahiti. We can create some of the crazy fun videos that we do for DDP TV. So we literally started construction this week. Our app / experience, because we don't even know what we're going to call it right now. Is underway. We're about 2/3 of the way through that. So a lot of great things are happening, guys. But I'm telling you, you should get certified, because I've also got a business plan that I'm helping some of the guys who get certified put together their own places. And this guy Matt Hancock has just he's got 300 students that pay a minimum of $60 a month to come in. So do the math. He does 18 classes a week, 3 classes a day, 6 days a week, and he's really turned this into a lifestyle that he loves. And I've got other people that are starting to, follow that, right now. So it's going to be a hell of a journey, man. Really excited about it.
Yeah, man, you've got the whole thing going on over there. Are you keeping the DDP Performance Center or the yoga center? Is that going to be in Atlanta, where you're located at?
Yeah, Smyrna, where it's actually going to be. Okay, so I got to run. I got to get to my next deal. But it was really great talking to you, and I love hearing the stories. You got one last question for me?
Just actually, if my computer crapped out, I'm not gonna lie. Could you just give me a soundbite real quick, and then we'll call it a day?
You want to do it again, the soundbite?
Yep, if you could. My computer was
And it's BS Wrestling Radio, right?
Yes, Wrestling Report or radio, either way. Whatever.
BS Report. That's good. Report.
All right, whenever you're ready.
Yo, it's me, DDP, Diamond Dallas Page, the king of bada bing, the master of the diamond cutter, the three-time world champion, and CEO and founder of DDP Yoga. And you, monkey, well, you're listening to BS Wrestling Report, and that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. Bye.
Thank you so much, Dallas. I really appreciate you.
Thank you, man.
All right, bro. Send me your Dallas at DallasPage.com. Send me your testimony, bro. It's awesome. I want to get it up there, man. Give me the before and after picture, and send me your deal, man. I'll stick you up there.
All right, Dallas. I'll do that. I'll do that this weekend.
All right, man.
Thanks, buddy. Have a great weekend, guys.
You too, Dallas. Thank you.